Alright guys, back with another video. So I'm going to be starting on this Capitol record player here. So I discovered the first little repair I'll need to make on this. So regarding this other speaker here, I think I might just order a whole other cable and solder it into the speaker, because I really don't want to just chop this off and have an ugly splice at the end on here. That just wouldn't look good. So I might even try to order a vintage type of RCA cable just to keep the proper period correct aesthetic and go from there. It plugs into the back right here for the stereo sound. I found the other part of the plug with the center pin on there stuck in this jack and broken off from the cable. So anyway, I've just started by taking these 4 screws out here to lift this whole turntable assembly out, and it plugs into the amplifier here, and then this wiring here is hardwired from a terminal strip under here directly to the amplifier. I'm not sure if there's a plug on the amplifier I can remove to completely free this from the rest of the unit. But now I'm going to try to disassemble the rest of this to take a look at the amplifier here. Alright, I've taken that cover plate off here. Just got 2 vacuum tubes, it looks like, and your filter can with all the electrolytic caps inside. Your elliptical front firing speaker, and then your other speakers I showed before. So here's some details on this. It's model S925, but that's a cute little amplifier. This might be even easier to work on than I thought, but I don't want to speak too soon. So anyway, this kind of all appears to be hardwired together. I might need to pop these knobs off to get the amp out. I want to be careful with these. They might be Bakelite. Not sure. And then of course, while I have this thing apart, I can have the opportunity to clean it and get the Tolex looking nice. But this is really in nice shape. I'm not sure how old it is. I'd like to know. Then there's just this little hook here to hold the tone arm down. Because on the Magnavox ones, like the Micromatics, this little post here would normally lock into the tone arm, but on here it's just hooked on like that to hold it steady when you're transporting this thing. And this is a 4-speed unit, just like that Motorola one I showed in the other video. So here's a look at the underside of the turntable, the mechanism. So there's your motor here. It's a little bit loose. Not sure if there's rubber spacers in here that shrunk in size or what. Anyway, here's the rest of the mechanism. I'm sure this is all greasy and gummed up, so try to get this cleaned up and lubricated with some new white lithium grease. And I don't know too much about these, so I'm just gonna see how much of this I can clean up and smooth out, and we'll try to go from there. I almost forgot to show this, but there's a schematic down here too inside. Need to vacuum this out. 50EH5, I'm assuming those are the tubes inside. And then FIL probably means filter for this filter can with the filter caps inside. Alright, I'm not sure if these screws on the side are going to free the amplifier assembly, but I just want to document how this goes in. So the screw goes in here through this wooden block, and then there's a flat washer and the nut on the inside, just like the bottom one there. Okay, taking these two screws out the side freed up the amplifier, even though again there's everything else hardwired to it. But there's our cute little amp. These original RCA tubes. Pretty neat. So yeah, these are 50EH5s. Not sure how to get the rest of this apart to get inside. Have to figure that out. But I need to be careful about all this delicate wiring here, because there's even thin wiring from these two chokes or whatever those are. Alright, it looks like I can just bend these two tabs on each side and take the cover piece off of here. I think that's the only way to get into it. I'm not sure what that chalky substance is, but anyway, I'll have to get some pliers and then we can try to look inside. Okay, there's the inside of our little amplifier here. There's probably enough free space inside to put these filter caps in. I mean, to replace the ones in this can and just set them inside here, I guess. And this middle pot here for the tone control was almost impossible to turn, so I might at least try to shoot some deoxit in here and see if I can get this to turn any easier. Got some kind of coupling cap down here, it looks like. The rest of this stuff might be okay. But yeah, I'll probably want to replace these filter caps in here and just solder the wires to some new ones. And then as for the mechanism, I'm not too familiar with how all this works, but if I can at least try to clean and lubricate it, maybe I can get it functioning again. Who knows? This is pretty interesting. I just pulled out these original RCA vacuum tubes, and it appears that there's a date code on these. It says made in USA 5909. So that could be September of 1959 when this thing was made. That's pretty cool. I definitely want to set these somewhere safe. Alright, so looking at the filter can here, luckily it outlines the wiring. So all these caps are rated for 150 working volts. And we've got the red wire, 50 microfarad, blue 40, two green wires that are 20 each. The black is common for the grounds. Then we need to determine the modern values for these, because obviously the modern standard values have changed since 1959 or whenever this was made. This coupling cap down there. Looks like it just goes to the chassis ground of this can. I need better lighting. You probably can't even see that. But it goes up there, and then the other side goes to this terminal strip here with this smaller cap. It's hard to see the value on this cap, but it looks like it's rated for 400 working volts. That coupling cap down there at the bottom. So I want to see if it's in the schematic or if I can tell what the value is from the schematic so I don't have to just clip it out of here. Ooh, somebody changed these by hand. That's interesting. Went from 470 to 100. Twin tone, so that's a dual gang 500K pot for the tone control. Chassis ground 0.05. That might be that cap right there because I think one lead was attached to the chassis ground. They must be these little dog bone caps. That says 100 something there. So maybe that's like nanofarad or picofarad or something. I don't know. That would be my guess because those two are the same. So yeah, I'm guessing that's probably 0.05, so obviously 0.047 and then at least 400 volts or more. I was looking at the schematic more closely, and one of these filter caps, according to the schematic, is actually 60 microfarads right there. And it was hard to read this on the can. I wasn't sure if this said 50 or 60. It's kind of smudged. That might be a 6. It's hard to tell, but anyway, I guess I could probably replace 60 microfarads with a 68, I think. And then put the 40 at either 33 or 47, and then the 20s at 22. I think that's it, other than that coupling cap. Alright, I'm searching for some caps here. You guys probably don't need to see this, but why not? So I usually stick with either Panasonic or Nichicon for the capacitor brands just to get good quality stuff. Alright, so now I think I've got all the caps ordered, and I need to find some kind of platter mat for the turntable. So I suppose I might be able to use like a cork one and maybe just cut it to size. Or there's some rubbery ones. Not sure. But hopefully I could find something reasonably priced and try to just cut it to size if possible. And maybe it would work. And I also need to find some kind of stylus needle for that. Whatever it would use. Well, here's something else I literally just noticed. So looking at the tone arm, you actually need 2 separate styluses. Not sure how well you can see this, but there's the one stylus here attached with the flathead screw, and then if you flip it over here, there's the other one. So I'll literally need to order 2 separate replacement styluses so I can play LPs and 78s. So I did a bit of research, and apparently these astatic N8 needles should fit, but I need to find the LP one and the 78 one in order to replace both of those. So this website called Turntable Needles was kind of the only online resource that had information for this Capital 925 model I put in. So I could probably find these on eBay for less. Install one stylus on one side, we know that. So the LP is 7 and then 3 for the 78. Another thing that might be an issue with this is the idler tire, so I'm going to try to pop this E-clip off and see if I can remove the platter and take a look at it here. Well, I'm remarkably surprised at the condition of this idler tire here for being so old. Normally these get to be so brittle and hard that the rubber just crumbles apart and it's not even usable anymore. But the rubber's still supple enough to bend and flex this. And earlier I put some rubber renew on the tire to try to restore some of the friction so it doesn't have that glaze on it. But anyway, this is the stepped spindle on the motor shaft. So it's got 4 different diameters for the 4 speeds, and that's how the whole mechanism works. It kind of got sticky again, but this is all gummed up again like it was to begin with. I had this buttery smooth off camera and it was almost effortless to switch. So I had some isopropyl alcohol here. I was just trying to douse one of the Q-tips and trying to get this in here to let it penetrate and clean all the old grease out. Because I was doing this earlier and then suddenly it freed up all the hard movement on this. See, there it goes. Look how nice that is. That's how smooth it should be ideally. So I feel like it's this shaft right here that's gummed up, because I cleaned this earlier and it was this smooth and then it got sticky again. And then just to clarify with this tone arm, as I was saying earlier, you need a separate stylus for each side of this stationary ceramic cartridge. So I think the LP one was 0.7 mil and the 78 is 0.3 if I remember correctly. So let me just lock that down. So yeah, that's all good news so far. I ordered the caps, I ordered a cork platter mat. So I'm hoping I can just, get a 12-inch circle diameter piece of cork and then trim it to size to fit on top of here and then just glue it down, I guess. And hopefully that should resolve that, and then hopefully this idler tire will spin and drive the platter with the motor turning. And that's all nice and smooth. And then I wanted to lubricate this arm here too, because this is definitely sticky with some old grease. I need to actually clean this as well. So this will probably be a keeper as long as I can get it up and running and fully working. And I also have tons of 78 RPM records that were my grandfather's. I've got all those really old hardcover books just filled with them. Some of them are in the shelf here, probably too hard to see. Oh, and also off camera I sprayed some Deoxit D5 in the tone pot, and it turns a little bit easier now, so that's good. So I'm going to take a little bit of my white lithium grease and just try to lubricate this a little bit, and hopefully it won't seize itself up again like it did earlier. Maybe I'll just work this in with a Q-tip and make sure it's thoroughly applied, and then there's also the sliding mechanisms down here I need to lubricate, and underneath. So I lubricated the top of this shaft, and then there's also part of this underneath, which I haven't lubed yet. I'm not sure if I even got that completely cleaned yet, so I want to just work the switch through all the positions and clean everything, and then apply lubrication. Yeah, that's still pretty dirty. Alright, so that's pretty well lubricated. Hopefully that should stay nice and smooth. And also, I don't believe I mentioned this yet, but there's actually a neutral position on this switch, the little N there, in between the 16 and 33. Like half a click right there. I believe that's just to keep this tire away from the motor shaft so it doesn't develop a flat spot or any kind of divot. And that just helps to protect the tire when this thing's not in use. So that's kind of a nice little feature there. So we'll give this oil enough time to soak in overnight and whatnot, and I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I just need to wait for the parts to come in that I just ordered, and it's going well so far. So like I said, hopefully this will be a keeper as long as I can get it up and running, and it'll probably have nice sound with the tube amplifier, even though it's just pretty small. So it should be cool. It's a good project. Hope everyone likes the video, gives it a thumbs up. Stay tuned for more updates on both of these record players. I'm probably just gonna fully restore this one first before I even tear into that Motorola one. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.